to this episode of Clip It Real Talk. This is a very special episode for me. I have a family on here that I admire to the utmost. This family has serviced our community and our industry for decades. And I just am so honored to have them on Clip It Real Talk. With no further ado, I would like to introduce the Knight family. Hello, Knight family.
Hello.
Welcome to Clip It. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Knight. Now, the
Yes.
Knight family has had and still do have a beauty supply store, and it has been a pillar in our community as well as our industry. They have serviced hundreds of thousands of beauty professionals over the years. Mr. Knight, welcome. You are definitely so admired, so loved in our community, our beauty community, as well as our neighborhoods. Philadelphia, you are in Philadelphia. How long have you been operating Knight's Beauty Supply?
I think let's see, since 1977.
Since 1977. Wow, what an awesome accomplishment. So you opened Knight's in 1977. What led you to actually open up a beauty supply store? Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Truthfully, I think I was looking for something to do to own my own business. And I guess at that time I had been in a few, and I had all the equipment that I needed. I just need the merchandise and all, and I was familiar with direct selling. So that's what took me into the beauty industry.
Okay. And that was in 1977. How many generations has Knight serviced over the years?
This is our 40 some years?
43.
43?
43 years.
Okay. So you had a salon too, right, Mr. Knight?
Yeah, well, my wife had a salon.
Okay.
She had a salon in Delran, New Jersey, called Sculptures.
In New Jersey.
Okay.
And how was that experience for you guys, Kevin and Iris, having the salon and helping your father and mother run the businesses?
For me, it was an opportunity to see the other side of the people that we serviced, even though at times maybe I thought I knew from the distribution side. It gave a lot of insight on what you guys, the stylists, the cosmetologists actually went through. So it helped to serve you guys better. For me, it was enlightenment.
Okay. Iris, how about you?
First, I just want to let those who see Mr. Knight, they're not used to seeing him that way, that he is semi-retired. So
I'm retired.
So he wants to claim retired, but so those who are not used to seeing him like that, they still ask me, does he still dress the same way? So I just wanted to share that. For me, the salon was kind of a natural extension, just adding something that we're doing already. I mean, that we're servicing the salons, or just adding another piece of the business to what we do. And it gave us a place to do classes and seminars. That was a big part of it, because we were always going to the hotels, and that made the classes more costly. So we were able to do more hands-on and things like that because we had the salon as well.
Okay. Mr. Knight, I want to thank you for your commitment and your diligency to us as the beauty industry. Thank you for your service. Since you're retiring.
Yeah.
I know for me, I honor everything that you have done for our industry. You are definitely admired and loved through our community, and a pillar. And Kevin Knight, I remember, because we've to my audience, we had some difficulty with this interview. I ain't even gonna get into whatever, but I remember a few times when we had this interview a few times and had to redo it. You had really gave your dad his props. Can you just express your feelings and admire, admiration towards your dad?
Yeah, definitely. Aside from all the arguments and leave me alone, I know what I'm doing type conversations, aside from those, definitely admiration. He was very humble in his response to you earlier, where he said we only had a warehouse when he started. And I want to really let people know he started in the garage. He started in the garage. That was the warehouse. And I think he's just being modest. He was able to bring Knight's Beauty Supply, excuse me, to where it is today from the garage of the house we lived in.
Okay.
And I watched it grow over years to different towns and stores. Long Branch, we had a store that closed for some reason. I was young, so for some reason. And Trenton, and then finally, I think we found our niche when him and Mrs. Knight decided to take a leap of faith and actually move to South Jersey. He had to pick up, sell the house, move. I was pretty much out of the house at that time, but he moved the business and his life down to South Jersey, where he saw that he could expand. And as I look back now, it was a definite leap of faith and just a matter of working hard. So I again, as you said, admire. I want to thank you for just showing us how to make a living. And it just proves that if you had put your mind to it, you really can do it.
Yes, yes. Over the years, Mr. Knight, in the beginning, it was very prosperous for you, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Still is. It's still a profitable business. It's just working it different from the way that we started.
Okay. Okay. Do you find that you get, because Iris, you didn't really elaborate on the fact that you had to initially was serving the professionals, and then for some reason the support or whatever wasn't there, and you had to basically.
Well, I'll add a little bit more to it. A lot of it was, and it didn't have to be so much that because I would still like to allow the professionals to do their job and let us cater to them. But we have, the professional market did not grow in the same way initially. Manufacturers made things for the consumers to purchase from the salon so that they could grow their business. Not all salons did, nor do they still want to retail. Some learned though, with COVID-19, a lot of people definitely saw a difference. We had people retailing that we know of didn't retail anything.
Okay.
So those things happened, and that was a lot of it, because the products that we had for the most part were not products that you would be able to find in your regular over-the-counter stores that's open to the public.
Right.
So that was how some things started to change. And now you have all these different types of chain stores that have a salon in it, and they have the professional products, but it all was what our salons were supposed to do with products like Mazzani, like Affirm. They were retail products. But instead, a lot of the stylists and barbers too send their customers to us to get it, because they don't want to have to stock the product. So it forced us to have to do that. One, because the products were being made, customers, there was definitely a demand for it, but not really wanting to do as much of the business side as the creative side. A lot of stylists would say, well, you just go down there and get it.
Okay. Now, I think that's a sort of really not a good thing on our part, right, Kevin? Like, far as I don't know why we as African Americans, I think it's something that we're trying to get into now, as far as selling products and stocking the products. I know that the you know, it's profitable if, you know, people would do it. But our customers, I think our customers was coming like every week, every 2 weeks. So I guess we felt like it really was a need for them to purchase. I see you, Iris.
Scratching my back.
Well, I mean, come on, back in the day, our clients did come on a regular basis. Mr. Knight even laughing at that.
Here's what, if I can jump in on that. One of the reasons, and you're right, they were coming every week. And depending how far back you go, if you go back to when we first met Juanita, the industry was very profitable.
Yes,
matter of fact, I will say it was the closest thing to drug money.
It was.
It's the closest thing to making money of that type legally, the way you're able to make it. So it was coming hand over fist.
Yes, it was.
So there wasn't a quote unquote need that was felt that I needed to do any more. Right. And then you have also, if you understand, and I understand it well, being a musician, the creative part of a stylist. You know, it's what we focus on is the creative, and the business can lack. The business side can lack. It's just the type of industry that it is. So to what Iris was saying, had the industry focused more on the selling to the clients as well, things would be rather different. And moving into the COVID season, it forced people to find other ways to make money.
Yes.
Which was now, let me sell the products that I could have always been selling. And one of the things I'll end it with this, someone else can jump in. I use the example that you can always sell something, because in the 27 years I've been married, I've never bought a bar of soap. My wife buys it, and whatever's there, green, pink, whatever it is this week, I use it. Same thing with shampoos and conditioners. If it wasn't for me being in this industry, whatever the missus brings home, chances are I'm going to use.
Right.
So hopefully that's some insight for some of the stylists who are watching to sell some retail to your clients.
Right. Sell some retail. Right. Well, I know one thing. Back when, you know, I know for me, when I was always going to the hair shows and education, because I even came to your salon for classes. Can you tell me a little bit about, Mr. Knight, when you started the education? Was it you? Was it Iris? I mean, what made you want to start educating?
Well, we had it in mind, but Iris was in charge of all education at the time that I was in the business. She handled all the education, because it was sort of like an individual, not an individual thing, but a separate thing that a person devoted most of their time to, because it was a lot to it. And it still is. It still is. The worst part is Iris had to continue to beg people to come to classes. And when they got there, they would say, "Oh, I'm so glad I came." But by now, she's so tired of begging you.
Okay, let's talk about that, Iris.
Well,
it's not the first time I'm starting to hear it more and more. Far as education, we really have to push more education in our communities towards generation of younger people, African American people in this industry. I had one person on Clip It that was saying how they go to YouTube, they feel like they don't have to go to classes, and if they do, they don't want to pay for these classes. Can you elaborate on that, Iris? Like, why is it so hard for us to get people to come?
At a time.
Okay.
So first, I'm gonna do like the debate. Let me go back to where Mr. Knight was. Before I came to the business, I think Wave Nouveau came out, and there was education and all kind of stuff that was needed and necessary. So I think that might have been where it started. And I remember these were called shows. So, and it would be on a Sunday. People came from church. They had on their hat, their best clothing, all of that. So it was this event. There was food and all of this. So as you know, one class happened, and then manufacturers want you to have more classes and more classes. Things started to change. People didn't want to pay $100 every Sunday to everybody who was having a class.
Okay.
Or they were late in time just for the dinner part of it. And so that became where they didn't learn the product. So that didn't benefit us as well either. So as things moved on, there were more professional products like Wave Nouveau coming about. It came Affirm, Mizani, and I don't know in what order, but different ways to do relaxers, different types of systems. So technology was at a big point in changing. And then there was the haircut that, you know, we weren't just doing low dry press and curl without getting a real cut. So the industry, the textured side of the industry was learning, you know, how to not to put a whole bunch of hair grease on the hair, how to make the hair fly, flip, and asymmetrical. So those were good times for classes then. Now, fast forward, yes, everything is on YouTube, not right half the time. Most of the time, it's not professional hairstylists who are teaching these things. So that's where people are getting some of their education. And a lot of prior to COVID, a lot of people just weren't interested in paying a lot of money for classes unless it was a new technique. But then again, the internet has been going for so long that we're in another generation who's doing something totally different. So we as a business kind of have to go along with what is also trending and happening, or we'll find ourselves lost. I've been hearing lately that Marcel is big with millennials and the younger generation. That's a big thing for them. So they're buying irons, but who's teaching them how to use it? I don't know if that's another class because they'll get it on YouTube, but who knows how. I know I'm not a stylist. I had a stove and a curling iron, and I burnt my hair out. So I don't know how they're gonna learn if they're not teaching it in school. So it's kind of an interesting time. And how is this all gonna happen? Then with COVID, nobody's coming to classes together. So it'll be interesting to see how a lot of this goes. Plus, a lot of your companies have apps, because the younger generation in the beauty industry definitely is that, you know, not as a negative, things happen for them quick, fast, in a hurry. So they're used to that. So to wait next month for a class is not what they're used to.
Okay.
So there's apps, there's on the spot. With some of the companies have people you can reach right here, right now to help you with a color that you're doing and you're in the middle of. Okay. So we just have to see how some things are changing and work with it.
Right. Kevin, how do you think the internet is changing your business?
As I said earlier, it's just making the marketplace for consumers broader. So as a distributor, we have to try to target better what we're selling, who we're selling, and just be more focused. Okay. And it's changing so fast from week to week.
It really is.
It's
so lost.
Spot on. Yes.
Some of the other things that are changing too during COVID, I mean, well, even with Walmart was just what Walmart did. Then they became grocery store. Walmart has become your one-stop shop for a lot of things. I was in Wawa here in, you know, this region. And during COVID, they now have vitamins and they have a stand with vitamins. So everybody's changing. And if companies still try to stay who they were, it will be who you were. Right. So everybody's changing, and you just have to try not to get caught in being yesterday and try to keep up, because it's just going so fast.
You have to reinvent yourself over and over again when different generations and stuff like that. So Mr. Knight, how many regions across the country or just the area have Knight's Beauty Supply service over the 47 years?
Well, like now we're in a lot of places due to the way things is handled now through internet. Truthfully, I think Iris and them, they really more up to date on it than I am, where they ship to, because nobody's delivering anymore. Only a few people is in their truck running to shop to shop. Everything now is express, FedEx, UPS, and whatever. So look, the internet opened up the world to the aggressive person that want to succeed in doing this in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
So it just basically left up, but they have, I guess they in all markets now.
Pretty much.
I know North Carolina, we're big in North Carolina. And that's one of the reasons I'm here, but I brought a lot of things to North Carolina that wasn't happening. So truthfully, it's sort of hard to say, because the avenues is all over now. Wherever you want to go, you can go, because all you got to do is get on your telephone or your website, and there you are.
Okay.
What's happened, it's been somewhat fortunate. Since COVID, there's been a problem with components and pieces and product just across the country, and everybody trying to have certain things in stock. So what's happened at nights is people, just by searching for even just the regular products they would normally be able to get and can't find, they found us. So it's our job now to try to keep them as a customer. So where our focus from when we started was Jersey, when we were in vans delivering, and then as we started to ship out UPS, we branched out to the entire state of Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, far down as Virginia on a regular basis. And we're still getting people from all across the country, here and there,
awesome.
Especially with COVID.
Awesome.
Can I quickly add to that? Mr. Knight said something that I kind of forgot about. He's thinking a lot of people aren't in their vans anymore because we're not. And there are a lot of people, which is great to still service in your vans. It's one-on-one, but you can still get one-on-one without having the product in the vans. A lot of times, what that was a plus and a minus. A lot of times stylists would want you to leave the product if they didn't have the funds at the time, and then you'd spend a lot of time trying to get your finances back. Just kind of pretty much chasing the money. And so it was, again, with going to the way things are today, people have to pay for shipping, but they were used to paying for shipping when they purchased your Paul Mitchells and some of the other products. So we realized that early on and started switching to that, because we couldn't go back 2, 3, and 4 times or take 1 can of oil sheen. That will put you out of business. And a lot of times people, stylists, would wonder, well, what happened to so-and-so? Well, half the time, half the state owed the person money, and they never could recoup their funds and their finances a lot. So people are still in their vans. I think they're doing it a little different. I'm not sure, but you can only service so many people. Right. But we moved to doing UPS and having a company do the delivery so that we could grow and expand and service more people.
Okay.
But it also did, if I can jump in to add to what Iris said, it gave you, the stylists, a little bit more flexibility. When we were in the vans, if we saw you Tuesday, we saw you Tuesday. If we didn't catch you Tuesday, you won't see me until next Tuesday because I'm in another part of the state or another state. This way, we now have people who place an order on Monday, and then they realize, you know what, wow, I need some more things, and it's Thursday. They can order them Monday and Thursday and have them that week and work. So it also works out for the stylists not to be held to only getting their product on a particular day.
Awesome. Mr. Knight, and this is to all three of you guys, diversity. Did you find it hard or to diversify, or are you diversified?
But it still is. It's still hard. And well, I'm saying it's still that people stick to their own. People still sticking to their own. And I think we sort of runs in a circle. It just the way life or business is, runs in a circle. Everybody's geared to certain things, certain people, certain way they do business. So I think we cover the whole spectrum of it.
Okay. Okay, Kevin, do you have a phone on it?
If I can just clarify, when you say as far as how diverse are we, are you meaning the type of customers we service? In what aspect? I'm thinking the customers that we service.
I think the question both ways.
Okay.
Because me as an African American business have found it, we're the only race of people that support everybody.
Yeah, true.
Everybody don't support us.
I wanted to make sure.
Support us.
Huh?
I wanted to make sure that was, what you were asking. It's still a challenge. To say it candidly, it is a challenge still to service what's called the general market.
Yes.
Which is your.
Why do you think that is?
I think
I can't answer it, but maybe.
I'll be really candid with you. I have some friends who are stylists who I went to high school with. And I still think that they believe what we do is for Black people. And it's a particular color developer that I'm saying, just try this item. It's not a relaxer. It's not, this product, which is for, or may be for the ethnic side or the multi-textured market. But there's still a taboo on what we sell and can you use it on our hair? That's my belief. So it's still a challenge to get in there. Not for everybody, but it still exists.
Okay.
And all fairness too, even going back to, I wanted to say when we were talking about, and it touches on this, on retail, percentage wise, not all salons, not just your African-American salons, but all salons percentage wise don't retail enough. Even though you have the general market salons as a whole, they too, unless you're that big salon with a whole bunch of stylists, don't retail as much from my understanding. I think it kind of, it's weird to me because I know if a white rep comes into your salon to talk to you about relaxing, and it's a relaxer you don't know anything about, you're looking at that person like, what can you tell me? And they may be able to, but you don't see it. So it goes both ways. Now, what for a good example is we have Mizani. We were the original distributor with Mizani. We've had people who have come in and said, is this the same as Cosmoprof? And so now that whoever has it, those places have it, we become secondary to the people who are getting it from us. So it's just kind of weird how it happens. If we've had it and someone else brings it to you, it's okay. And even paying $50 shipping for one thing is okay. But but the support can start from us, but it doesn't really continue if it's found elsewhere. It's like it's better in that place and it's the same thing.
I know.
It kind of goes both ways, but we definitely will go into some products we'll try, like there are some products, maybe 5% of our salons can use them, or 1 or 2 items in it they'll use, but because it's exclusive or it's the Gucci, what I don't know what's popular now.
I know what you mean.
Red bottoms. I'm in the red bottoms, but I'm against them. And just because that product has more alcohol in it, but it's the thing, and I go to the top-notch general market salon, which has never taken a class in how to do our hair whatsoever, sometimes it's just a thing to do.
Right. I just want people to know about Nice Beauty Supply. I want them to support Black businesses. This is the time for us to actually make that shift in our communities and let people know about the Black businesses that's been around for centuries. Not only the Black businesses that's been around for centuries, but for those that are starting out. And hopefully we can be mentors and teachers and influencers to all. That's the whole thing, Iris. We can't sit back and sit down. We got to stand up and move out and continue to do what we always did. So you have to start your classes back up. Let me know. And we have to work together.
True.
Like Mr. Knight was saying, I was not one of those salon owners where I wanted to help my stylists, but we don't trust each other. That's a whole nother show too. That's a whole nother show that is embedded in us, and we can't change the stuff, the generational curses and everything that we battle as African-American business owners. It's not our fault. That's all I can say. I want to say, I thank you guys. This conversation can go on and on forever, but unfortunately I have to cut it short. It has been such a pleasure having you guys on Clip It Real Talk. Unfortunately, we can't even really get to a bottom line because there's so much to talk about. So when I come to the classes, when this COVID is over, everybody will hopefully see that we just got to keep it moving, Iris. We have to stay positive. We have to continue to educate those that want to be educated. And we have to continue being influencers and encouragers, right, Mr. Knight?
Absolutely. You just gotta you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure that you run your business, because there's always gonna be people doing and hustling or whatever you want to call it. But if all professional people that do their thing and do it consistently, the right way, and helping other people will always succeed.
Yes, and on that note,
can I say something? If there are any stylists and barbers listening to your point, the schools are doing things. We attend stuff meetings for these high schools, might be 5 stylists in there. And that's crazy because you want those young people to come work for you, but you don't go back. I'm not you again, the audience don't go back to support them. And so you have to go start somewhere, be they in the high schools or where else. But they're on Zoom and so forth. So the high schools have meetings. There's also, Juanita, that I'd like to share with your audience, a petition floating around out there, and it's a legitimate petition for the stylist, Black and Latino, like Latin stylists, to receive funding and grant money in the same way that other industries received. So
not other industries, but other ethnicities.
No, the restaurant industry received dedicated money. The barbers and stylist industry, the ones in historically deprived areas, want the same kind of funding. And you all were the hardest hit during COVID. Right. So there is a petition if you want to support your stylists, and they're not asking for any money, just to make some signatures so it gets up to the governor and gets on the table and gets some money and some support. There's strength in numbers. And petitions, there's strength in numbers in salons and stylists.
Okay, make sure you send me that petition. To my audience, I want to thank the Knight family for coming on to Clip It. All this great information. I will have Knight's Beauty Supply information down in the caption. I will have all the information, address, phone number, website, everything. Please support Knight's Beauty Supply. Support Black businesses. This is the season for us to unite and for us to stay prosperous. Thank you so much for coming on to Clip It, Knight's family. It's been an honor. Thank you to my audience. This has been a great episode, and have a good night. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell and spread the good news about Clip It and spread the good news about Knight's Beauty Supply. Thank you.
Thank you.